Anatolia has a complex terrain with hills and valleys interspersed with swamps and swamps. Before that, we had the opportunity to hunt wild boars in the swampy area in the south of the Anatolian steppe. Because the terrain is swampy and muddy, we used a special vehicle, an airboat. This boat has an engine that is a giant fan that creates a great force to help the boat move on the dry swamp. Thanks to its fast speed, we were able to shoot down many harmful wild boars. However, the hunting trip in the Anatolian steppe brought us more drama and experience. The hunting trip lasted one day, starting before the sun had even appeared. After more than 1 hour of traveling from early morning, at 8 a.m., we encountered a herd of wild boars, all of which were adults. I raised the gun, my heart pounding. Amir whispered, "Shoot the leader or they will scatter." I took a deep breath, held it steady, and pulled the trigger. The explosion echoed throughout the mountains. A wild boar fell with a screech. The remaining herd was startled and scattered. We followed the trail of the remaining wild boars, but because of the long distance, it was difficult for us to hit these wild boars. However, this herd of wild boars was probably exhausted and could not run far. We chased and shot down a few more wild boars. This increased the number of wild boars, which we shot down to nearly 10. As the sun rose, Amir and I decided to hike up to get a better look at the boar herd. Sure enough, Yusuf radioed that they had spotted a large herd on the slopes of the opposite bank. I aimed carefully, waiting for the moment when the boar stopped and fired. With a single shot hitting the weak spot, the boar was hit and rolled down the mountainside. In the afternoon, we decided to move south to ambush the wild boars. This area is where wild boars often pass through to get into the farm. Sure enough, it didn't take long to wait. The wild boars appeared. Not letting it escape, Amir quickly shot down the wild boar, knocking it down on the spot. Wow, this wild boar was huge. Can you guess how many kilograms it weighed? The larger the wild boar, the more aggressive it is, and the more destructive it is compared to other wild boars. Therefore, we must hunt down these adult wild boars at all costs. As you can see, the terrain in this mountainous area is rugged, with steep slopes that make it difficult for us to move. The wild boars are very fast, and the bushes provide easy shelter for them. Without observation skills, it is difficult to detect the wild boars. These wild boars relied on the rugged terrain and escaped our repeated shots. "Next time I won't let them escape," said the Emir. Amir and I moved down to a position near the ravine. The soil here is more humid, so the shrubs and grasses grow well. If you don't observe carefully, you might not be able to detect their location. At a distance of hundreds of meters, this wild boar was taken down. To do that, what do you need? Simply a scope attached to a gun. To hunt wild boars, or any wild animal. We need a scope to make the shot more accurate. In the late afternoon, we moved to the foothills near the farm to finish the hunt. Hunting wild boars did not bring us any joy, but because of the surrounding farm, the wild boars needed to be exterminated. This trip is not just a hunt, it is a journey connecting people and mountains, instinct and skill, tradition and modernity. Please like and subscribe to the channel to watch more videos.
Wild hogs, seemingly clumsy and slow, but in reality a formidable foe in the wild. They live hidden in the dense forests of Georgia, agile, cunning, and extremely destructive. Today, armed with guns, experience, and an uncompromising spirit, we head deep into the forest to hunt down and destroy this dangerous invasive species. As soon as we arrive, we found traces of wild boars. But the wild boars, with their extremely sensitive sense of smell, seemed to have sensed our presence and immediately ran away. Immediately, the entire team raised their alert level to the highest level and quickly deployed an ambush formation. At my position, I suddenly came face to face with two wild boars. They stood motionless, their eyes fixed on me warily. I aimed at the lead boar, but the shot missed. The boar continued to charge and disappeared into the forest. Putting aside my disappointment, I quietly headed to the assembly point with my teammates. The barking of hounds and the sound of gunfire began to ring out in the distance. The situation became more tense. My friend and I immediately kept quiet, observing every corner of the forest. A dark figure suddenly appeared, approached, then stopped in a wary halt. Not missing the opportunity, my friend immediately pulled the trigger. A decisive, clean move. In just a split second, the pig collapsed on the spot. I continued to go deeper into the forest and chose a good observation position. The gun was loaded, ready to wait for the appearance of a familiar shadow. The goal is here. Without hesitation, I immediately turned around, pointed the gun barrel at my prey, and pulled the trigger. Just one shot, the pig fell down on the spot. Before I could recover from my shock, another one suddenly shot past me. Without time to think, I instinctively pulled the trigger again. A perfect shot. The pig rolled among the dry leaves. I didn't expect it to go so smoothly. The short break passed in a flash, and my brothers and I returned to the hunt. Not satisfied with the previous failure, this time I will be more careful and decisive in every shot. As if to prove it, the target was revealed. I kept calm, waited for the prey to come into focus, then pulled the trigger. It was amazing. The moment it fell made me so happy and proud. The joy of victory still smoldered in my heart, giving me a strong motivation to continue hunting for the next prey. And then, an opportunity suddenly opened up. An unfortunate wild boar was charging straight towards me in a panic. Without hesitation, I immediately raised my gun, aiming straight at the target. A fatal shot rang out. The prey fell in an instant. As the evening wore on, more and more wild boars appeared. Their shadows loamed behind the tangled tree trunks, thinking they were not being discovered, and still walked leisurely. But right after the first shot, one wild boar collapsed to the ground. The other one then realized the danger and quickly ran away into the deep forest. About 10 minutes later, a few others were forced to reveal their true colors to the dog's pursuit. And they all met the same fate. The day seemed to end peacefully, but unexpectedly, we encountered a herd of giant wild boars. Although it was quite late, we still split up and laid ambush in all directions. No matter which direction the pigs fled, they could not get past the tight encirclement of the team. The gunshots rang out loudly, echoing throughout the forest, ending a dramatic, tiring but extremely memorable hunting day. Leave your comments below to let us know. Don't forget to like and subscribe to receive the latest notifications.
Silence of the night, my cousin Chris Robinson and I quietly entered the familiar field where the giant wild boars often appeared. These pests have become a nightly obsession as they continuously invade and mercilessly destroy crops. Despite many hunts, the number of wild boars continues to increase, forcing us to follow our challenging hunt tonight. As soon as we set foot in the field, we quickly put our plan into action, placing loudspeakers in strategic positions. In a moment, the boar's squeal rang out, attracting the attention of the other board.
Uh-oh, here comes one. Back from the south.
They were curious, slowly approaching, fascinated by the sound of their fellows in the dark. Although they were usually very alert, it seemed that the darkness had made them let their guard down. Some of them could not control their instincts and rushed forward. My vision quickly looked onto the largest boar, which was also the one that reacted to the most of the loudspeaker's squeal. My heart pounded as I waited for the right moment, and then, as it paused, a fatal shot ended any hope of escape. The boar fell to the ground, making the first trophy of the night. The hunt was not over yet. The screams continued to echo in the distance, and other pigs continued to charge, taking advantage of the precious opportunities. I continuously aimed and shot down a few more pigs in favorable positions. However, the remaining pigs quickly realized the danger and immediately ran away, escaping our range. Tonight's hunt still had many challenges ahead. After the first round of bullets caused the pigs to panic and run away, we followed the edge of the forest, deeper into the field, where wild pigs often hid. In the view through the thermal scope, I discovered a giant wild boar, slowly moving forward. Its image was clearly visible, with its large size, characteristic black color, standing out in the pitch black field. I quietly approached, trying to get as close as possible to ensure an accurate shot. But suddenly the wild boar seemed to have detected my presence. With no other choice, I had to open fire immediately, finishing off the saboteur before it had a chance to escape. From afar, right at the edge of the forest, another wild boar was wandering around looking for food. Sensing the lurking danger, it immediately turned around and ran away. I quickly let out a loud scream, causing the wild boar to suddenly stop for a moment. In just a few short seconds, I had time to aim and shoot it down with an accurate shot. As the night wore on, more and more wild boars appeared, and they also grew larger. In a moment of excitement, Chris and I opened fire simultaneously, taking down a wild boar on the spot. From our advantageous shooting position, we continued to take down more and more wild boars, each shot a saboteur falling. The image of the crop beds being dug up and destroyed by wild boars appeared in my mind, making us even more determined to hunt tonight. Although the wild boars were busy foraging, they did not forget to maintain a high state of alert, only daring to wander near the forest, ready to rush into hiding when they sensed danger. We patiently ambushed, waiting for the opportunity to shoot at the largest ones. Although they tried to escape, there were no chance of them escaping our sight. Slow ones were immediately taken down. The others were faster disappearing into the dense forest. Even when they hid behind the bushes, our thermal scopes easily detected them, and the accurate fire continued. Every time we encountered a large herd of pigs, the feeling of excitement increased. We kept shooting, not having time to aim accurately. Stray bullets still hit the pigs running wildly. In just a few short minutes, the herd dispersed, leaving behind traces of a successful hunt. Moving closer to the water, we knew for sure that the wild boars would be here. This was where they often come to drink water, leaving footprints on the wet ground. I immediately chose the largest wild boar as the target, feeling excited. As soon as the first shot rang out, we both pulled the trigger, chasing after the panicked pigs. They were running away. Thanks to the thermal scope, our night hunting became easier than ever. The images of the wild boars were clearly visible in the scope. I could quickly take down the prey by simply lifting the gun. The pigs ran away frantically, but they didn't know that we could track every movement and aim accurately to the centimeter. The night hunting trip lasted longer than expected, but the constant appearance of the pigs made us excited, forgetting our fatigue. However, as the night fell, the gunfire gradually subsided. It's time for us to return home, bringing our valuable loot with us. Thank you for following our dramatic night hunting journey. If you find it interesting, don't forget to like, share and subscribe so you don't miss the next adventure.